if anyone still wasn't convinced, then this week was evidence that we really are living in the darkest timeline. Hello and welcome to the Sometimes Serious podcast, always sometimes serious all the time. I'm your host, and as always, I'm joined by Michael Palmer.
Hello.
And Tom Comabay.
Hello. It's kind of... but it's okay.
And this week, our guest and resident Scottish person, Rhys Tuckfield.
Hello.
So how's everyone doing this week? I know it's been
Not
quite a
too
dark
bad.
and horrible week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been all right, other than the atrocities that are happening.
Yeah,
Wow.
it generally doesn't feel like that. Sorry, it generally does feel like that. It's not dying down anytime soon.
We'll discuss the topic that we don't want to discuss, but we're hinting at. We'll discuss that on tomorrow's show. For the meantime, let's have a bit of escapism. Let's live life a bit happier, and let's talk about how the game industry is trying to us all again.
Yeah,
happier.
Yay!
So let's talk about Ubisoft. Everyone loves Ubisoft, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they only make great games.
I
Right,
do have
guys?
one question. I do have one question about Ubisoft. I always pronounce it Ubisoft. I hear people say Ubisoft. Do we know what the correct one
to be
is?
pronounced it.
Well, neither way is incorrect.
I was gonna say, let's be
Ubisoft,
honest. Either way,
Ubisoft.
someone will complain.
How about
Yeah.
company that makes clones of their own games and fills
Perfect.
them with crap?
Sounds good.
So, company that makes clones of their own games and only makes fills them with garbage. They recently revealed that they're doing a Trackmania remake. I'm certain you're all really big fans of Trackmania and know exactly what Trackmania is.
I tried
As-
one once. I wasn't a fan.
Wasn't
Actually,
it like a game on the PS2 era? Or PS2 era?
They have released some since
they have
then.
released more.
I don't know. I very, very vaguely know what it is, but continue.
I actually have played that. It's actually not that bad.
It's basically the whole concept of the game is you're in a car, you race around silly, like stupidly designed tracks, and you've got to go at top speed as your car does all these really weird things. It is what it is. I'm certain it has quite a niche audience, but whatever. The Trackmania remake, I'm really happy to tell you guys, it's going to be free. The base game is going to be free. And
Base
isn't
game.
that amazing?
Keyword.
You picked up on it there. I see you picked up on it. Oh, someone's good at this gaming industry business, isn't he? Now, one of the main appeals of Trackmania is the track editor. Everyone likes creating their own tracks. Ubisoft, in all of their wisdom, decided, rather than have it as like DLC or, you pay for the game, you get it, they're having a $10 a year subscription fee.
Jesus Christ.
That's not the worst of it. There's a $30 a year tier that unlocks exclusive skins and entry into racing leagues.
You're right. That sounds even better.
But, hang on, I know what you're thinking. It's a subscription, mainly because I said it was a subscription. But it's not. Ubisoft's got you covered here. A rep from Ubisoft actually said, it's not a subscription model, but access to the game for a limited time. You pay for having access to the game for one period, and that's it. When the time's over, you have to buy the game again for the time that you want to access it again.
Surprise
See-
mechanics!
Ubisoft saved the industry. It's not a subscription model because you only pay for the access you have. So we've all got Netflix. That's not a subscription. You just pay to have Netflix on a monthly basis.
What that actually worries me though, what that actually makes me worry about though is it feels like they're sort of trying to give ideas to ActiBliz. I mean, World of Warcraft, it's no longer a subscription game. No, you just pay to have access to it whenever you want.
Well, the thing I don't understand is technically they are correct. But you just defined subscription. You said it's not a subscription because you only pay to have it for a set length of time, then you have to pay again.
It's
That's the
literally like
definition of subscription.
yeah, it is literally like that. The rep just went, okay, no, hang on. Let me get out my Oxford dictionary. Here we go. Let me just no, yeah. No, it says right here. It's not a subscription. You just pay to have to have limited access to it.
I love how the community has kind of universally disavowed this. They've outright said that we'd be happy to pay for it as a one-time fee. We'd love to just give you the money and have access to it, but this is not okay. I kind of think that Ubisoft was trial running this because if anyone listening is a Trackmania fan, I'm sorry about what I'm about to say, but it's not a very big game. It is a very niche market, and it's a very niche game. So something tells me Ubisoft was hoping to float this and just get away with it and see how just a tester. Just like, oh, if this works here, we could try it in our bigger games.
Sounds like paid mods.
Don't even get me started on that.
Well, because I always like to take these topics and turn them into something more. Both of you have referenced the exact thing I wanted to bring up. How the gaming industry has a very nasty habit of doing exactly this on multiple occasions. The one Tom brought up, surprise mechanics.
Oh, EA.
You'll love to see it.
Oh, what we gonna do with you, eh?
What we gonna do with you trying to legally pull the wool over England gambling committee's eyes?
Well,
Man.
not just ours, the world's. They're trying to go, it's all right. It's not gambling because they're children. So
But they
it's
were-
fine.
They were outright in a meeting with the UK Gambling Commission, and they were just like, no, honestly, it's fine. Child gambling is fine.
Well, the thing was, so do you, like both of the companies, because Epic was there as well, do you guys find that these loot boxes are ethical? Well, here at EA, we don't call them loot boxes, we call them surprise mechanics. Oh, you, EA, you.
Oh,
pesky
wag the
blighter.
finger at them, yo.
Why I order?
Pow! Straight to the moon.
It's a very shady tactic that they always try, because if they're attempting to rewrite history, basically. It's not loot boxes. We don't do loot boxes, even though a couple of months before they were in that meeting, they were like, oh, Jedi Fallen Order won't have loot boxes. So you do call them loot boxes. Nah, they're surprise mechanics. I have never wished this, sincerely, but EA, please burn in a fire. Not
No,
the people.
no. No.
The people on the ground. I don't want you to burn in a fire. The company. I want the
No.
concept of EA as a whole to burn in a fire.
I feel like EA as a company could be redeemed if we got rid of all of the investors and the executives.
You do realize
All
what
right.
you're asking, right?
So the goal of the Sometimes Serious show now is to generate at least $20 billion so we can buy EA wholesale
Yeah.
and just turn it into a private company and fire Android Wilson.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Why not?
Oh god, that guy's slimy.
We're
That's
not
the
going to
nicest
touch on
thing
Android Wilson, but I would like to
that's the nicest
say,
thing that anyone said about him.
when I said that I don't want the people to burn in a fire, I do kind of want Android Wilson because it would burn off his human flesh coating and would reveal the android underneath. But let's continue on this trip down memory lane. What's the next one? I remember. Do you guys remember when they turned microtransactions from microtransaction to recurrent user spending?
Yeah.
Excuse me? I have not heard this.
Not even
Yep.
I.
In corporate
How?
speak, it's no longer microtransactions, it's recurrent user spending. Our goal is to create a product that keeps the players coming back. We want them to invest more time so that they can help engage in our economy, and it will increase recurrent user spending. It feels gross even speaking in that corporate manner. I don't understand how these people do it for a living. Ugh.
Well, the large sum of money is usually the thing that helps them sleep at night. I think they make their bed out of it.
So, how do you sleep at night? On a bed of money. Rolling
Angelo-
around in money, showering
duh.
in money.
Andy Welch, man, he's probably like, smoking his cigars and cigarettes, and it's just like dollar bills, just like $10 bills as just the skins.
Like literally, just speaking about this has just made that iconic scene of Scrooge McDuck, where he's called just jumping into his pool of money, his pool of golden coins.
10 points for being spot on, by the way.
That
Oh, was it?
always-
Oh, nice.
Like, quick aside, that's always annoyed me because if you jumped into a pool of golden coins, you would be dead. Gold is hard. If you jumped headfirst into that, you're dead. I'm sorry, that's it.
Have you seen the bit from
Unless you
Family
heat
Guy
it.
where they basically like remake
Yes.
it, and he jumps in and it's just
Yeah, and he like breaks his legs. He's like, ah, what? That's what would realistically happen.
he jumps in like and his entire skull just goes.
That it's always annoyed me, but that was a real quick aside. Let's go back to recurrent user spending. It is just a tactic just to try and confuse and to move on, because microtransaction gets a bad name and everyone's like, oh great, it's got microtransactions. No, it doesn't have microtransactions. It has recurrent user spending. Shut up.
Like it's so bad because like, a lot of games before the whole microtransaction controversy started had microtransactions, but they were free. Like they were free to play games, so the whole concept of microtransactions was completely fair. It was like, okay, yeah, you guys have to generate money somehow. And then I think it was what's it called? Deus Ex? The latest Deus Ex, that was the first single player game to introduce microtransactions.
Oh, they
I
were in
think
there
it was-
way before. That was a
No.
particularly bad one, yeah, where they sold skill points.
Yeah.
I think the earliest one, which I remember, was Dead Space 3.
Yeah, where you could
Was
pay
there?
for resources.
Yeah, you could buy
Oh
resources.
man!
You had a
They
scavenger bot as
butchered
well.
that game.
Yeah, you had a scavenger bot, and you needed resources to like make guns and I believe ammo as well. Yeah, and you can only deploy one of them, or you could buy another one just to go out and do it. You get more stuff, and you could buy resource packs.
I completely forgot about that.
I think I remember watching you, Philip, play that game and making a comment at the time of just like, well, that seems terrible.
Also, as well, they did put the true ending to Dead Space 3 behind the paywall. It was a DLC you had
What?
to buy.
That's
wow.
happened throughout the gaming industry for ages, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to go back to Tom's one, the Deus Ex one, they did the exact same, and they've done that multiple times in multiple different games. So they go, ooh, but the real ending.
The biggest one is Azura's Wrath. Literally, like the expansion was the true ending, because the actual game ended on like one of the most stupidest cliffhangers. And then it was like, oh, but by the way, if you actually want to see the last boss fight, just the last boss fight, you have to fork out like 10 quid.
I was going to say, please tell me it was all of about 10 minutes worth just to really, really take the piss.
I'm not sure how long it was. All I know is people were like, okay, this game's fantastic, but my god, this was one of the most shittiest things.
If we're talking about, like, this is off topic, and we're not, like, we've taken it aside from the trip down memory lane. Does everyone remember online passes?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect
EA
2
attempt
online
To
pass.
kill the
Battlefield
pre-order
3.
industry.
The Mass Effect 2 was the biggest annoying one for me because there was an entire character locked behind that online pass.
Oh no, I didn't even know about that until recently when I was actually watching Mass Effect 2 years later. It's just a character, a companion, just locked behind it.
What makes it so stupid as well is that, like, I think he's outright referenced in Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3, but unless you have the online pass, you do not see him.
Yeah, yes, because I recently just went through the Mass Effect games. He is name dropped.
Well, the question is, why did you have to be poor? Why did you as a consumer try and get yourself a better deal? What was wrong with you?
The stupidest thing is how ridiculous the prices were for these online passes. Some of them like 30 quid.
Yep, I know. I bought Battlefield 3 a long time ago, and it was pre-owned, and I didn't have the online pass, so I had to go out and buy another one, and that was like 20 quid.
The one that made me chuckle the most, it's just as evidence that the gaming industry has always tried to screw us consumers, despite the fact how much they try and claim that they're here for us. They're a business that tries to screw you. Do you guys remember a 360 game called, I think it was Saboteur? Sabotage?
Oh yeah.
No.
The online pass for that was literally nipples.
Excuse
What?
me.
What?
There was, because it's set in France, there was a bar you could go to, and there were ladies who were topless.
I
who would
remember
dance.
hearing this.
If you didn't have the online pass, they had nipple tassels on.
Oh,
If you got the online pass, they didn't.
What?
So,
Oh my
for
God.
10 quid online pass, they sold you nipples.
Oh,
Why?
I love it.
sex sells.
Yeah, it does. I wish it
I
didn't,
bet
but it
I-
does.
I bet that they probably made quite a bit from that. I wouldn't even be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I'm going to admit something, and then we're going to move on. It's not my proudest moment, but I did in fact buy that online pass.
As soon as you said that, it was like, oh no.
I know. The moment he said, I'm gonna match something, it was just like, come on, man.
To be fair, I thought there was more content in the online pass, and then I looked at it afterwards, and I was like, so I got nipples, and then I went to the bar, and I was like, is this? I literally got nipples. That's it. That's all I got for this.
The title of this video is just gonna be Philip
All I
admits to
got
buying
was
virtual nipples.
It's not.
The title should be. Actually, no, never mind. I'm not going to say it. I'm not. I
He's
don't
saving
think
it.
I can
It's so bad. He's saving it. He doesn't want it actually in the video.
get. No, it's
Can't wait to
so
see the
bad.
title
I don't
for
put
the
my
video.
name to it.
You've got to say it now. You've built it up. You have to.
No,
He's thinking about it. Come on, come
Send
on.
it to me in a message, and I will say it.
no.
Come on.
Come on.
Whisper it in my ear.
Softly.
Yeah, just whisper it into that mic. Don't worry, you're not being recorded.
No one's listening on the other end. We promise. Says
Okay,
every
let's-
single home device.
Let's get back on topic and bring up the final one that I can remember, and it's the one Menzies brought up. When Bethesda failed at paid mods, so instead they created their own paid mods but called them micro DLCs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I
great.
hated that. When they first talked about paid mods and they felt the uproar and backlash of the community, they're like, okay, you know, we get you don't want that, you're not ready for that, all of this. I think I was around yours, wasn't I? And we were talking about this, and you turned to me and you said they're just going to try and bring it back in a couple of years. And lo and behold, in a couple of years' time, they went Bethesda Creation Club, and it was like, oh no.
I don't want to say that, you know, when I make the calls about the gaming industry and say this is going to happen, that I'm always right, but, you know,
He
Old
has a
Drake.
track
Always right.
record. He does have a pretty decent track record. When what was it? ESO was first pay to play, wasn't it? It was originally a subscription service. You couldn't play it without. And you literally took one look at it after about a month of it being released on PC and went, "That's going to go free to play when it comes to console." Lo and behold, it did.
I mean, I might be pretty good at this. Now, apart from those, can you guys remember any other time that the gaming industry has just attempted to lie point blank to our face and say, no, it's not that. It's this.
Really
No,
trying to
them
think
trying
now.
to sell us the platinum version of games. Like, not as in platinum games, people, but, you know, back on the 360, you got the platinum version.
Yeah,
And it was
I
like,
remember that.
cool, what's the point?
Like,
Halo 3 Platinum Edition.
Was it just literally that? Hey, your box art is different.
Yeah,
Wasn't that
that's
it?
literally it.
I actually remember these. I think I own one of them.
Oh, I own a few.
How quick look across? Yeah, my original AC1 is a platinum edition, and it's it's just a case.
What's that?
My Onimusha Warlords for the PS2 is platinum. It just literally means that it went over a certain amount of sales, don't it? That's literally it.
Let's be honest, it probably didn't mean that. Because this being the gaming industry, the game of the year gets given to how many games each year?
Yeah.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
I guarantee that Fallout 76 got a game of the year from somewhere. Like
it did.
some guy
Someone-
on YouTube gave it game of the year, and then Bethesda's
so they
like,
plus
Fallout
it.
76 game of the year!
I vaguely remember reading something, which I believe to be nonsense, but I've never looked into it, where the Platinum Edition was meant to be a re-release of the game, but with updates to it. But, yeah. Yeah.
Wow!
When I first heard that, I was like, really? Are you sure?
That's so dumb. That like hurts me. That's how dumb it is. They basically sold updates.
Yeah. Yeah, if that
Wait,
is
stop,
true.
stop. We're not talking about selling updates. I do not want the gaming industry to get any ideas. We're going to
Yeah.
move on
I was
now.
going to say, for the love of God, do not speak any more about this before EA and
Every time there's an
immediately
update that needs
ideas.
to come out, it's like, okay, so if you pay
Stop
£5
talking
now,
about it! We're moving on. Sony in Australia. Sony recently had to pay out a
if you
huge amount
subscribe
of
to
money.
this monthly billing service,
Will you please? Yeah, hang on. It's not a subscription.
it's a
dare you?
monthly pay, monthly
You just pay for
payment
the time you
codes.
have it, and then you don't have it anymore, and then you have to pay again.
Right, I apologise.
Wait a minute,
Yeah,
it
there
sounds like
definitely
Blockbuster.
isn't.
Wait, no, it sounds like a subscription. Oh my
Sounds
god, I
like
can't even say the word.
Subscription. Never heard of it. Sorry.
Never.
Android Wilson. Ah, you.
Subscription error. Okay. Let's
Code
get off this topic.
101.
Error 101.
Yeah. He couldn't
We're
find the word
moving on.
subscription.
We're
Error
moving
404.
on.
He couldn't find his website.
Exactly. Jesus Christ! I'm trying to move us on to a different topic. Stop!
You're gonna drag us kicking and screaming at this point.
Yeah, we're moving on whether we like it or not. Considering you were the one that wanted me to bring up the Sony in Australia thing,
So you get.
as just a little behind the scenes for everyone. But before we started, he asked me, because he didn't know about it, he asked me to bring it up because I did know about it. So I'm going to bring it up, and Tom's going to accept it.
Can
So for anyone who doesn't
quickly-
know what Error 404 is,
Can I very quickly interject
No.
the fact that Tom, you were right. To become
What's
a
that?
platinum release, it was required that a game had over 400,000 total
come
worldwide
on!
sales.
I knew it. I knew it.
But how is that platinum?
I was going to say, that's quite a low
400,000
I have
number.
sales
no
is
idea.
a failure of a game.
Yeah, that's a very low number.
That
Indie
was for
games get that.
PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 releases. It had to have over 400,000 total worldwide sales after generally 1 year on the market. PAL region sales in particular, games that sell over 400,000 units in another region alone, such as Japan or the US, do not necessarily qualify for the platinum title.
That's basically every game gets platinum.
Yeah.
We could release a buggy 2D just piece of garbage that we just brought on Unity and would probably get 400,000 sales.
To be fair, though, like
Okay.
Only Musha Warlords was released in 2003.
But can I
Something like
say, can I say that we wouldn't get Platinum Edition anymore? They rebranded it to Essentials for the PSP, the PlayStation 3, the PS Vita, and the PlayStation 4. So every time you see a PlayStation Essentials game, it just basically hit a sales mark. That's it.
I love and hate this industry simultaneously. I get so conflicted about it. Okay, we are moving on now. Stop dragging us back. We're moving forward. Forward into the future. Now let's talk about a story that's a couple of days old. Sony in Australia, they were taken to court and had to pay, it was like 3 million, 3.5 million.
Something
A
about
number
that.
somewhere around there.
3.5 million, yeah.
The reason they had to pay it is because you guys know how strict the Australian consumer protection laws are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were
you know-
surprised that one of the games that's going to be coming out wasn't just outright banned.
Well, I'm thinking
Aren't
more
they?
about Fallout 76. How in Australia they said anyone who asks for a refund before a certain date, you have to give it to them. It's against the law for you to not. And Fallout 76 had to comply. This is basically the same. There were a couple of consumers in Australia who asked for refunds for games, and the Sony representative told them, I'm sorry, you can't get a refund on the game because you installed the product and you've had the product for longer than 14 days. So it was taken to the Australian courts, and the Australian courts promptly went, yeah, that doesn't work. The consumer protections don't just end because they installed the product, and they also don't end just because an arbitrary length of time has passed. So that ain't flying, I'm afraid. So Sony just had to pay a huge amount of money, and part of the money they're paying out is also part of Australia's legal costs.
Ooh.
So they
Excellent.
lost extra hard.
I feel like it's a little bit bad. I kind of enjoy it, when a company like Sony, and I know that this amount of money isn't going to break them, but I love it when they have to fork out a large sum of money because they've tried to screw a system, and then the system has come back and just screwed them even harder. And I absolutely love it. I love watching it happen. Regardless if I like the company or not, I just love watching it happen. I just love sitting there going, idiots.
I absolutely get that, because a lot of the large corporations feel they're beyond law, they're above it all, and like, you can't get us for that. Actually, there are some countries who have got their consumer protection. For God's sakes. I'm just hopeful that those kind of laws spread to the rest of the world, and maybe we could get some. Please, sir, can we have some of them laws?
Well, wasn't our gambling commission apparently looking at like actually changing the gambling laws?
For sure
So
we did.
That
was Denmark.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
When they first said EA loot boxes bad, that's gambling, and EA went, all right, we'll fight you in court. The Denmark government came out and said, even if the courts find that it's not gambling, we'll just change the definition of gambling to make it gambling. And it's kind of like, ooh, EA, you are done for. Ooh.
Oh,
That's what. Sorry, just quickly. That's what I don't like about the interaction with EA and our gambling commission, is the fact that our gambling commission just sort of sat there and was like, "All right, cool, carry on."
Well, our gambling commission did find that it is problematic. It's not gambling per se, but it does need to be regulated, and it should have age ratings on it. Our gambling commission did come back and say it's very bad, and it is actually causing like gambling addictions, and something has to be done about it. It just hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Which is
because they said that
terrible.
it wasn't technically gambling, so of course our
You just hope.
powers that be are just like, okay, fine, so we don't need to do anything then.
You would hope that the powers that be would go, okay, so in their report they outright do say this is causing gambling addictions in children. Now, while it's not technically gambling, it's causing gambling addictions in children. Maybe we should do something about this. How did we get onto hating EA again? That's literally how we
just
started.
universal. Really hateful.
It's like a black hole. We're just sucked back into it every time.
Someone sneezes
We
and like,
managed to
oh,
escape.
go away, EA.
I mean,
So everything that's going wrong in the world is now EA's fault. I'm not going to give examples because there are some bad examples I could give that would not be appropriate to make fun of. I don't think there's anything else to say on the Sony thing. Big company
Yeah,
tries
sounds like
to
it.
screw consumers and gets screwed by the government. There you go, that's a good headline.
Like that's a title.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking,
No.
like, I wonder how else I can find a title like that.
Hey, Menzies, what was the title you had in mind that you didn't want to say earlier?
Shut.
Shut.
So, I've got kind of
Trying
a
to shorten shut up, which is already a short as hell word, doesn't work.
Hey, it worked for me, so we're going to roll with it. Shut is our new catchphrase.
No!
It's going to be on t-shirts and mugs everywhere.
Yep.
Just to screw with you, Tom. That's literally the only reason. Okay, time for a more depressing story, even though all the stories so far have been pretty depressing. Do you guys know the game Kerbal Space Program?
Oh yes, and I think I know what you're going to bring up. Go for it.
I don't.
Kind of a niche game. Had like 2 million like copies sold, which isn't bad. It's
Got-
most
got
certainly
to
not
watch
huge.
some. You,
I mean, for
It's
indie game, it's still
definitely-
pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of niche. The people who were working on the sequel, Star Theory, they had a difficult time in the past few months. As a report by Jason Schreier in his new home of Bloomberg. He reported on that the Star Theory employees received a message on LinkedIn in December from a executive producer from Private Division, who is a like kind of subsidiary of Take-Two.
Yeah.
The people who own 2K and they publish Borderlands and GTA, and so they're huge. They're one of the ones that hides behind the scene, but they're huge. They're everywhere.
yeah.
And the publisher, well, the message that was given to Star Theory employees through LinkedIn, not like a message, not just, a company-wide message, through LinkedIn, was, "This was an incredibly difficult decision for us to make, but it became necessary when we felt business circumstances might compromise the development, execution, and integrity of the game. To that end, we encourage you to apply for a position with us." And they got that, and then immediately heard from the people at Star Theory that Take-Two had pulled out. Take-Two was pulling out of the game, so all of the employees who were working on the game no longer had a game to work on. So that was really, really shitty. The story behind the scenes is that Take-Two was in the process of purchasing Star Theory, but the founders of Star Theory, like between the founders of Star Theory and Take-Two, they couldn't come to a mutually beneficial agreement. Like the people at Star Theory weren't happy with the terms they were being given. So Take-Two destroyed them. Take-Two instead stole their project away and then immediately messaged everyone working on the project, "Hey, how about you come work for us instead?" And this effectively destroyed the studio. The studio attempted to keep the people on board and say, like, "No, stay with us, just we'll get through it. We'll work on a new project. We'll work together. Just stay with us, you know. Unity, let's work together. And they had a couple of concept ideas coming together. And then it was announced that GDC was cancelled. And that's kind of when it hit them that if GDC's cancelled, then they can't go anywhere and pitch to publishers the new ideas of games that they've got. So it destroyed the studio. The entire studio closed. Yeah, something really dirty and like completely shitty. Take-Two reportedly offered compensation packages to employees willing to join the newly formed Take-Two internal studio. The name of the studio is Intercept.
Wow.
Really?
How very tasteful. Yeah, around 30 employees moved on. Absolute respect to Star Theory. When they shut the doors, they said to everyone, look, we're shutting. They gave them a month's pay and 2 months healthcare. Just to give them that little,
excellent.
like, here you go.
Yeah.
You've got to go
Yeah.
find new work, sorry. But, oh my god, Take-Two. This was a tiny niche game being made by a tiny niche studio. And instead of just letting them do it, you destroyed them.
How vindictive do you have to be to be like to feel like that you've been offended because someone goes, sorry, but we can't agree to your terms? That is disgusting.
That's the thing. It wasn't even them saying, like, outright no. It was them going, we'd like a better deal. You're not giving us a great deal. Let's work out something better. And
Some high up obviously has his head so far up his own bloody ass.
what I don't get is, they were going to buy Star Theory and then just have Star Theory continuing working on the game, and then they'd have their own internal studio of Star Theory. And it's always good to have those kind of studios because, you know, people attach themselves to the studio rather than the publisher.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. But instead, they just royally screwed them. That can't have been good financially. That has to just be, as you said, Tom, petty.
Yeah.
It's just them being petty.
That is
That
is
the
so-
word.
that is so depressing. Like that is heartbreaking to know that, you know, a company that passionate, that small was just stepped on.
This big player in the industry has just gone, well, get out of it.
It really goes to show that no matter where you are, no matter what industry you're in, politics is always there.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
What, like, Take-Two, like, it's not like, you know, they're desperate for, like game companies to work under them. They have Rockstar and GTA and also Borderlands. Not like, you know, they're really hurting, are they?
That thing is, they could have just continued to fund the project. You didn't have to destroy the studio. What I don't get is, why wouldn't you just go, okay, well, we can't come to an agreement about buying Star Theory, but you guys are still working on our game, so why don't you keep working on it? The cost to start up a new studio and then hire all of these new people, because they gave them like special benefit packages to leave Star Theory and join Intercept. That's expensive.
So
It's going to be a hell of a lot. Sorry, it's going to be a hell of a lot more than if they had just made a better deal.
Exactly. Or just continued with what they were currently doing, of just paying Star Theory money and saying, make our game for us.
is Kerbal Space Program 2 still in development, or has that just been scrapped
Yes.
completely now?
That's the really shady thing. They literally just
God.
coached the staff and then continued with their own internal studio called Intercept. It has been delayed by like a year, I think.
I don't understand. Just continue to. Oh my god! Just continue to do negotiations with.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't.
Nah.
It's almost like it's almost like, that they were like, oh, screw it, we can afford, the couple extra thousand or million or how much ever other dollars is going to cost just to screw with them. Whoever's decision was that is just such a sad human being that they would just stoop to that level just to crush someone who's smaller than them.
Yep.
It's outright. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. It shouldn't be happening.
The thing, I'm not willing to stake my reputation on this prediction. I'm just saying it would appear very likely, in my opinion, having spent how many years we have in the gaming industry, the Kerbal Space Program 1 is like a really niche game, and it came out. It's been out for like 6-7 years now, and it's only just hit like 2 million sales. So I reckon Kerbal Space Program 2 is not going to sell well because it won't. It's a niche title. It's a very niche title. And I reckon there's a bloody good chance Take-Two kills that studio.
Didn't the first one originally come out on PC first as well, and like 2 years later it came out on consoles?
It was way longer than 2 years.
Yeah, way
Oh, was
longer
it?
than 2 years.
Yeah, it's a super niche game. I love it, but even I understand it's so niche. I would never recommend it to anyone because it's so niche. And I can't help but feel when the game inevitably doesn't sell as well as they're hoping, because it won't. It's so niche that Take-Two are going to kill that studio.
Which is no fault to the that studio. It's just that Kerbal Space Program is like you really need to be into like rocket science and all that. Like you need to be like otherwise you could just make the game just making abomination rockets and flying them into space if you can. But if you want to play it properly, which most people will try to do, it won't sell because, like you said, it's just super niche.
Well, let's just say there's a very good reason why it's on record that NASA loves Kerbal Space Program. And they've embraced it wholeheartedly and helped them make a few tweaks to the game. And they actually, like, on the regular, use Kerbal Space Program at NASA. That's how niche of a title it is.
So Take-Two are going to pull the old EA.
Yeah,
And just-
the game will not meet their expectations, and then they'll kill a studio. I'm not willing to say that's definitely what's going to happen, but I would not be surprised. And then think, Star Theory, like how much cheaper would it be if they had just paid Star Theory the money? Star Theory makes Kerbal Space Program 2, the game comes out, it doesn't perform that well. Okay, well our business with Star Theory is concluded. Instead, you murdered a studio, gained all this bad reputation, which is going to hurt Kerbal Space Program 2 anyway. That's going to massively hurt its sales. People don't forget that kind of stuff. I'll be sure as shit not forgetting it, and I'll be reminding everyone about it. And then they're going to close their own studio and have to fire these people and pay them severance. It would have been way more cost effective to just keep your business with Star Theory.
Do you
But
know
they
what?
won't see it that way.
Yeah, they won't, but I always feel like these people that do this, that have money flowing out of every orifice of their body, replace their tear ducts with printing machines. I feel like they really should not be allowed to be in charge of companies. They just shouldn't.
It's almost like you know exactly what I want to talk about next, and you're just setting me up for a perfect segue. But go ahead, Tom.
It's just real quick. Like it's so clear that these higher ups have such a huge egotistical problem.
Yeah.
Small man
Yeah.
syndrome.
What is it? The Napoleon syndrome, I think it's called.
Yeah.
But to use Menzies' perfect segue, talking about how the rich get richer and how they shouldn't be allowed to be leaders of companies. Well, we got it. Head of Activision.
This is going to be
This
fun.
year, his pay is $30 million.
Get out.
No, actually, it's not, is it? It can't be that much.
Now, let me cast your minds back to, when was it? Late last year? Early last year, I think it was. Sometime last year, let me cast your minds back and remind you that Activision let go of 8% of its entire staffing. They let go of 800 people because we couldn't afford to keep them on.
And he's getting
How
3 million.
dare you.
And yet, that exact same year, they had their most lucrative, their most financially lucrative year in their history.
Yep, they made more money than they've ever made. Admittedly, they didn't make a profit, but they made more money than they'd ever made. And this year, Bobby Kotick's taking a... He actually wants more than 30 million. The reason the story came out is because some of the shareholders and investors are outright on the line now going, he should not receive these bonuses, and we need to start limiting how much he earns. He's one of the most overpaid CEOs in America. Like, percentile-wise, he's one of the most overpaid. He's
Why
worth
30
over $1
million?
billion.
Why so much?
There's a lot of like mumbo jumbo behind and a lot of like legal speak, which I won't go into. I'll just give you the broad strokes. A lot of his money that he's getting given is on stock options, and there's a really, really shady part of his contract that says if he doesn't get stock options immediately, so if Activision doesn't go like at the end of the year, doesn't actually give him 30 million in stock options, then he's allowed to recuperate them any time from, I think it was 2016 to 2021, at their maximum value. And that doesn't mean at their current value.
No, that's the maximum they ever
value that it could have had. Not that it did have, that it could have had. And the amount of these stock options actually get given to him is unbelievable. It's so ridiculous. Go on.
This, like, obviously, this is gonna sound very, like, I'm trying to think of the right word to use. Uneducated of me. But what job does he as a COO actually do that demands that he gets paid that much?
You know what? When I figure out why he deserves 30 million a year, I'll let you know.
I was about to say that silence is exactly what he does.
Yeah, it's just like,
That's
no one
the
knows
reason I left
what
it
he-
there.
like no one knows what he actually does other than he's the CEO.
Okay, maybe he, I don't know, like, does some paperwork. Maybe occasionally talks to people on like on video calls, video
Hey,
conferences.
do you know what? I'll do that for 30 million a year.
I'll do it for 6 million.
I'll do it for 500,000.
I'll do it for a penny, because at least I could claim I'm the CEO of Activision Blizzard and hopefully steer the company in a better direction.
Now, I'm thinking I'd do it for 30 million a year and then start trying to use that money to steer the company in a better direction rather than, just voice.
It is like one of my favorite comparisons is Iwata to this dude.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but how Iwata
Bobby
took a pay
Kotick.
cut. Bobby, yeah, him.
Robert Kotick, let's call him.
How Iwata took a pay cut to save people from losing their jobs, and he just outright goes, "No, I want more money, so people are going to get fired."
Yeah, it's never made sense to me, and you would expect that the shareholders are finally waking up. You'd expect that the shareholders would actually go, hang on a second, we lost money, and we've lost so much support from the community, and everyone hates us, and you haven't hit any of your performance goals. Why are you still getting your performance bonuses? Because that's the thing. A lot of these bonuses he's getting that take him up to 30 million are performance based, and he hasn't hit the performance goals, and yet he's still getting the money, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's atrocious, and I wish more were like Satoru Iwata.
EA is a public company, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the shareholders have outright said that they agree that he shouldn't be getting paid that much.
Do you mean Activision is a public company?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, it is a public company, and there is a portion of the shareholders that are now trying to rally everyone else into going, he doesn't deserve this much money.
But judging of how you just said that, I imagine it's the minority.
Should be the majority. He should not be getting 30 million, and 800 people was it that lost their job?
Yeah. Well, I think half of his salary. Like, you take half of that salary away.
Half of
that's
his salary.
15 million a year, and you can keep all of those people.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's losing out on that much. He's still getting $15 million a year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but how the hell are you gonna burn through 15 million in a year? Like, I couldn't burn through 15 million in like 20 years. It's.
Is it bad that I can think of ways to do it?
Other than literally burning money?
No. I mean, I could literally spend 15 million in 1 year.
Just buying houses all across the world.
Shut up.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could, but there comes a limit where you go, okay, I have enough now. And over the past 4 years, he's raked in over 100 million in salary and stock options.
Like,
That is enough to live on.
What do you
Bobby
need?
Kotick, as I said earlier, is a billionaire. His net worth is over $1 billion. You have enough. You do not need more than 1 billion.
It's
I
just like,
think you should speak to maybe the CEO of a company that we all know and, generally speaking, use when we want to order something online. I think you might have heard of it. I think it's called something like Amazing. Oh no, Amazon. That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah. This is a real weird aside. There was a quote from Bill Gates when he was being interviewed, and he was like, "Oh, so how do you feel that you've lost the richest man in the world thing to Jeff Bezos of Amazon?" And his response was, "Yeah, well, we can't give our money away quick enough." Because Bill Gates is actually invested in all of these charitable foundations and gives away so much money. He's like, "Yeah, I'm glad someone's finally gotten above me because I can't give my money away quick enough. I'm trying, trust me." Hey, Jeff Bezos, maybe
Do the same.
you do not need more, like $1 billion. It's so hard to conceptualize $1 billion.
What?
But $1 billion, you're set forever.
but the thing is, he's got like an offshore account that has all that money. Put that on a current account. Just go into like an ATM. Hold on, boys, give me a second. Go, take some money out. Your balance is £1 billion. You may withdraw 300 quid.
You've got a daily withdrawal limit of £500.
Let's be honest. If Bobby Kotick walks into a bank, they roll out a golden carpet, start massaging his feet and head, and offer him caviar. He's a billionaire.
But for some
you
reason,
imagine?
he still needs 5 million a year.
Like, can you even imagine just going to your bank, sticking your card in the machine, entering your PIN, and thinking, shit, I need to check my balance. I need to make sure I've got enough for the shopping this week. And as it pops up with $1 billion, you just laugh and go, "Of course I have."
I need
Buy
to
the
make
entire
sure I've
store.
got enough for the shopping. What are you talking about? He doesn't do the fucking shopping.
No,
He has
you're
people
right.
to do that for him.
Pays them
He
like
pays a
$1 an
butler
hour.
to pay a butler to pay a maid to pay a butler to go and do the shopping for him.
No, that last butler then pays like an urchin.
What year do you think we live in?
Okay, what year do you think we live in that someone's got that convoluted a method?
This is Bobby Kotick.
Let's be honest, yeah, I was gonna say this is Bobby Coffee.
Probably does. He probably hired the 800 people again just so he could go, okay, I'm going to give you the money to give this guy the money to give that guy the money to give this guy the money. Just 800 times over.
Just to give it back to him.
He probably sits at his desk and just like puts on like a helmet and goes, "I am king."
Just like a crown.
You know what? I actually wouldn't doubt that. They should call me King of ActiBliz. No, Bobby, no one's calling you that.
Kingdom of
dropping
ActiBliz.
devil horns onto your head.
He probably just has like a crown that he just goes in and he's just like, you should not call me Bobby, you should now call me Sir Bobby.
You saying
Kneel before me.
You saying about horns just made me think he sat there, he whips out a replica wand and goes, I am the greatest lord of them all.
Did you guys hear that he actually outright said in an interview he really wishes people would stop photoshopping devil horns on his head because it hurts his chances when he goes dating?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, because, you know, not enough people would throw themselves at him for the billion that he's worth.
He's a billionaire. He can literally just... I hesitate to say it. He could buy a human being.
It is just
And it
like,
could
he
make
could
a
buy
dent in
multiple
his
human
money.
beings.
To be fair, let's face it, gold diggers are a thing, they do exist. He could buy a gold digger, that's it. He could walk into a place and just go, by the way, I'm worth this much, here's the proof, and all of a sudden, they'd just flock to him.
Well, I mean, you just go to Russia and go, I'd like to buy a woman, and they'll set you up. I don't. By the way, I'm not advocating for human trafficking. It's
You're
wrong.
not advocating, but you are making it sound like Russia is just the biggest human market.
I mean,
Right, moving on.
for Russian brides, it blows my mind that he's even fighting it. That he's even making a point of being like, no, I deserve this performance money. You really don't. You really, really don't.
How long ago was it? We were having this conversation where we were saying that we would love to see the people who are at the top of these companies suddenly do the groundwork.
Yep.
Think how long it would take for them to be trained to do that in comparison for someone on the ground to be trained to do their job at the top.
The thing that blows my mind as well. Bobby Kotick's getting 30 million this year. Your average developer salary, and this is on the high end, about 40 grand.
Yeah.
Come on.
He could fund several video games out of his own personal wealth and not feel a dent. And yet he's still like, but I need more than my 30 million this year.
See, like that is one thing
My
I've
yacht.
always had a problem with, is the fact that game developers deserve to be paid so much more.
Yeah, they do.
Especially with how much they go through. Does Bobby Kotick go through crunch? Does he spend 150 hours a week in the office working non-stop, finding an office? And I'm never going to let anyone forget this, the BioWare one. Does he have to go find a spare room so he can just cry?
Hey, that last one, maybe he has to from all of the complaints that hurt his feelings.
From all of the devil
Stop
horns
photoshopping
photoshopped.
devil horns! Nobody wants to date me!
Just
You know
go
what?
buy one of those robotic bloody sex dolls. You've got enough money.
What makes you think
to
he
be
doesn't
fair,
have an army of them?
He's probably funding money into Boston Dynamics, and he's like, so how long until these robots are fuckable?
As I said before, he sits at his desk and goes, I am king, in front of his legion of sex dolls.
You know what? Beside his crown, he's got like a button that just says "nut," and then when he presses it, like, sex dolls just come out.
It sounds exactly like that as well. It doesn't mean like a beep, but if he just presses, it goes, nut.
The thing is, as well, it's a deep Scottish voice. It's not a voice. It's not a professional voice. It's just a Scottish person going nut. So,
Is it bad that I actually do know that for a fact as well? The sex bots out there will have Scottish accents.
Sex
I was-
bots.
I was really hoping you were going to say that you know this for a fact that he does have a button inside of his crown that says "nut."
I wish.
Oh, it's the son of his crown, is it?
Hold on.
Sinus rectum.
What sort of crown is it? Or is it more a tiara for being the little bitch that he is?
It's kind of a mix because like it's two sides. So he has it facing one way when like people come in, so he can be like, "Oh, I'm so important." The moment they leave, he spins it around, and it's a precious little princess tiara, and he presses like the gem in the middle, and it's a Scottish man yelling "nut," and then sex dolls appear.
And that's just his Monday kink.
I don't, is it bad that every time I'm thinking of this, like I just visualize that guy Big Ed from a 90-Day Fiance.
Oh
No.
no, I know the one you're on about. I know the one you're on about. No.
Like, is it Bobby Cotton? Like I'm at the same height as him. Bobby Cotton, is that his name? Kotick, okay. Bobby Kotick.
Who cares?
Bobby Kotick.
Bobby
Yeah,
Cotton,
exactly.
I don't care. You call him whatever the fuck you want.
Bobby, come here and get a slap.
What I don't get is, and this is quite an old joke, and I'm going to repurpose it. And I'm not fat shaming, but Bobby Kotick is most certainly overweight. If you're a billionaire, why wouldn't you pay trainers to exercise you in your sleep?
It's from all of the tears of the employees that he drinks. It's just really fattening for him.
No, that fuels his devil horns. The fat comes from who knows where.
No, because that liquid does not solidify into horns. That liquid would break them down. That liquid turns into fat. His horns actually come from sucking the marrow out of the employees when they don't do what they're told.
I was just going to say he's just been eating out the sex bots too much.
I'm not going to follow that line of conversation, and I'm just going to say that we're done with this episode. But before we wrap up,
This is how we
we're
end it.
going to go for our new recurring segment, recurring literally from last week. Menzies is mildly interesting. So what you got for us, Menzies?
I want you to pick a number between 1 and 30.
7.
7.
No, wait, 23!
Okay. 23. Make your mind up.
23.
69.
That wasn't even on the list. Stop.
23.
23. Okay, my fact for you is, originally, cigarette filters were made out of cork, the look of which has been incorporated in today's pattern on ready-mades.
I don't know what I expected, but that was underwhelming. So that's it for us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and check back tomorrow for the Sunday show. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.